Some of the best shows on TV come from the Discovery and History channels. We're talking about Pawn Stars, Naked and Afraid, American Pickers, Alaskan Bush People, Monster Garage, and Swamp People, to name a few. And while these reality TV shows have captivated our attention, you won't believe some of the scandals revolving around their cast and crew. Not only are the scandals shocking, but they've resulted in cancellations and cast changes. You won't believe these secrets from some of your favorite shows. Before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Alaskan Bush People don't live in Alaska. Alaskan Bush People is entertaining, but after following the Brown family for years, fans started wondering whether the show was real or scripted. This was heightened after Bam Bam and Billy pled guilty to charges of second-degree falsification for claiming to be residents of Alaska, even though they were living elsewhere in 2015. As an incentive to stay in Alaska, full-time residents are given money from the Alaskan Permanent Fund Division. They were sentenced to a month in jail, and they had to pay thousands in fines and restitution, according to Juneau Empire. Richard didn't have a license to sell guns. When a series centers around a family of gun makers who run the Gunspoke Guns and the patriarch of the family, Richard Wyatt, doesn't actually have a permit to sell guns, it's not a good thing. But in this case, it came out after the show was canceled. In 2012, Wyatt lost his federal firearms license due to breaching federal regulations and laws, but he continued selling firearms by conspiring with other gun dealers. To keep his business going, he had customers buy them at Gunspoke and then pick up their weapons at other stores, as the Denver Post reported. Richard Wyatt didn't report $1.1 million in income. And that's not the only legal trouble American Gun's Richard Wyatt has been in. In 2017, the Discovery Channel reality TV star was convicted by a federal jury on 10 felony counts related to conspiracy, fraud, and tax evasion. Richard Wyatt didn't report $1.1 million in income. According to the Denver Post, Wyatt was sentenced to 78 months in prison for conspiracy, dealing firearms without a license, and failing to report $1.1 million in income to the IRS. American Guns had criminal clients. If illegally selling guns and tax evasions wasn't enough, American Guns was also under fire for contributing to the sale of stolen firearms. During the finale of the first season, a man named Wiley Newton had a stolen 1,849 .44 caliber Colt Dragoon appraised on the show that was worth $40,000. It turns out the gun was stolen from a gun museum in New Mexico. As Fox 31 Denver reported, Newton almost got away with it until the man who the gun was stolen from was watching TV, recognized the firearm, and contacted the police. Hayden family was arrested. Another show that revolves around a family selling firearms, Sons of Guns, abruptly came to an end in 2014 after charges were brought against Will Hayden. But that wasn't the only arrest in the family after the show was canceled. Charges were filed against Stephanie Hayden Ford and Chris Ford. Hayden family was arrested. U.S. Weekly claimed the Sons of Guns stars were arrested for allegedly hitting Hayden's 9-year-old son. Ford was accused of striking the boy, and Hayden was taken into custody for being present during the incident. Sons of Guns producers caused security scare. Not long after the show's first season premiered, 2 members of the Sons of Guns production team caused a security scare at Dallas, divided by Fort Worth International Airport after parking a rental truck loaded with pyrotechnics and firearms outside one of the terminals and leaving it unattended. Sons of Guns producers caused security scare. As NBC5 Dallas, Fort Worth reported, they were searching for a third member of their group who leaves a truck loaded with explosives and guns unattended outside of an airport. Of course, authorities got involved. The scare happened on 9/11. What's worse than causing a security scare is that it happened to occur on the 11th of September 2011, which is 10 years after the terrorist attacks. Anyways, it caused part of the airport to be closed for 2 hours while airport security and the FBI questioned the driver. The Discovery Channel later released a statement via NBC5 Dallas-Fort Worth calling it a colossal error in judgment by a member of our staff. Cody London filed defamation lawsuit against Dual Survival. Dual Survival, a show about survival experts in challenging environments, had one of the co-hosts face a challenging environment of his own. Co-host Joe Teddy allegedly made threats of violence against fellow co-host Cody London, which caused Discovery to terminate London. He claimed producers then manipulated behind-the-scenes footage depicting him as looking mentally unstable and being responsible for him leaving the show. But after a judge looked at the episode in question, he concluded that some scenes were completely factually accurate while others were only substantially true, as The Hollywood Reporter reported. Joe Teddy's alleged threats against Cody Lundin. So how exactly did Dual Survival's Cody Lundin claim Joe Teddy threatened him? While producers made it look like Lundin was the one who was unstable, Lundin claimed Teddy waved an ice axe around while threatening to bury Lundin on a mountain in Norway, according to Fox News. And that's not all of the threats that he claimed. Lundin said Teddy threatened to impale him with a spear while shooting in Hawaii. He even claimed Teddy showed him photos of people he killed while he was a CIA operative. Naked and Afraid is scripted. Naked and Afraid, a show about a man and woman who are challenged to survive in the wilderness without anything, has dealt with lots of controversies, with many people believing it's fake. One report from Season 3 contestant Honora Bowen is incredibly compelling. In her blog, she claims she was instructed to fight with contestant Matt Strutzel to make things more interesting, and producers coached her on what to say about her background. She didn't end up completing the challenge due to extreme heat exhaustion, which she faked to get out of the show. Fans were not impressed with Count's Customs Counting Cars. A spin-off of Pawn Stars follows the activities at Count's Customs, an automobile restoration and customization company owned by Danny Coker, a car expert on Pawn Stars. While the show has been airing for 10 seasons and counting, fans who actually visited the shop were less than impressed. One TripAdvisor reviewer said, "I was not impressed with this shop at all. It is just a warehouse with some of the cars and bikes that they have worked on with an overpriced gift shop. Took less than 15 minutes to walk through." American Pickers only shows best items. American Pickers follows antique and collectible pickers Mike Wolf and Frank Fritz, who travel around the U.S. looking for items to pick. While they find gems and valuable treasures on the show, there are rumors that we're only seeing a part of what they sift through. It's likely that most of what they find doesn't make it on the screen. Producers go through the items and they pick the best ones to show, like Yoda prototypes, a $9,500 elephant's head, and a $21,000 Von Dutch XAVW motorcycle. Items are pre-selected, like American Pickers' Pawn Stars, which follows Rick Harrison and his family, who own and run a pawn shop in Las Vegas, has also been rumored to filter what makes it onto the show. On screen, Harrison appears to be friendly with everyone and finds interesting artifacts with fascinating stories, but it's unclear if he actually found the items on the show. Many people believe producers already bought the valuable items and then put them on set. Restorations aren't always perfect. Another spin-off to Pawn Stars is American Restorations, which centers around a group of experts who restore American vintage items to their original state. The show was on for 7 seasons, and while many of the results were super impressive, fans noticed a few mistakes over that time. One mistake was in an episode named Secret Fan. A viewer noticed the wheels on the restored go-kart were mounted crookedly, causing it to wobble when moving. Others have spotted chipped paint in restorations. American Pickers is fake. As mentioned, it's rumored that many of the collections from American Pickers have been pre-selected and planted in the shop for the sake of good TV, but there's also talk that the negotiations aren't quite like how they are shown on screen. Many people who have sold things on the show have spoken out about how Mike Wolf and Frank Fritz act differently from how they're portrayed on the show, and often the buyers and sellers agree on the price before the cameras roll. Man wasn't eaten alive. When a show teases for months that a man would get eaten alive and doesn't follow through, it's sure to make fans angry. That's exactly what happened on Discovery Channel's special Eaten Alive with Paul Rosalie. He came face-to-face with a 20-foot anaconda but ended up getting rescued. Rosalie panicked when the snake put its mouth around his head and crushed his arm, so he called off the whole operation and experts rushed in to help him. Unsurprisingly, viewers weren't happy as they expected more gruesome action from a title that promised Eaten Alive. PETA condemned Eaten Alive. It comes as no surprise Eaten Alive made headlines after the incident with the snake, and even PETA got involved, condemning the act. Even after Rosalie said the stunt was to give attention to preserving the Amazon, PETA accused the Discovery Channel of abusing wildlife. PETA said the snake was tormented and suffered for the sake of ratings, and shame on this pseudo-wildlife expert for tormenting this animal, and shame on the Discovery Channel for giving him the incentive to do so. Mama June's boyfriend, when TLC, which is owned by Discovery, suddenly canceled Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, which follows Alana Thompson's family around After 2 seasons, fans were in shock. The reason it was canceled was even more surprising. As CNN reported, allegations surfaced that Mama June was dating Mark Anthony McDaniel, who served a decade in jail for child molestation. While Mama June denied dating him, in actuality, the child abused by McDaniel was Mama June's daughter. An entire season's worth of episodes was left unair.